The situation in Libya is in tremendous flux. 48 hours ago, it seemed that Gaddafi's forces were going to win and that this conflict was largely going to be over. Then there was a decisive, massive, sudden U.S. and international intervention. And now we see Gaddafi's military forces being hit, and we also see opposition forces that are moving to retake areas that they had lost a few days ago. So there's been a momentum shift, but a lot is going to depend on the nature of the international intervention and the strength of the opposition, and we don't know the results of either of those yet. In the short term, this investment is putting the United States, I think, in a favorable light internationally. It's showing that the United States is resisting a dictator who is widely loathed. It's done for humanitarian reasons. And at the same time, it's putting the allies first, both the European allies and, a bit less successfully, attempts to put somewhat of at least an Arab face or an Arab hand in all this. The long term, though, is much more risky. As the bombs continue to drop, inevitably there'll be civilian casualties. Also, there's a question of whether the U.S. public is supportive of a long-term mission. And if Gaddafi doesn't fall instantly, and I think that's unlikely, how long is the United States going to be prepared to sustain this? What we're doing right now in Libya is limited. It involves air assets, but not too much more. So with the air assets come surveillance, come logistics, but this is something that can be sustained, but it is draining. And doing this operation does remove resources from places like Afghanistan where more are needed. So it is stretching an already stretched military. It's unclear to me where the president himself stands. There's certainly resistance to this mission institutionally from the U.S. military and the Department of Defense. Of course, they're carrying out orders, but Secretary Gates has spoken publicly in the past that this would not be a good idea. But at the same time, the State Department is very strongly behind it and has clearly convinced the president that this is the way to go. The question will be if this mission endures, if this involves a substantial resource commitment, if it involves political costs, how much is the president himself willing to put in?